Ever catch yourself staring at an anthill and wondering, like, what's really going on in there?
Haha.
Okay,
Yeah.
ready? Because today's deep dive, it's all about ant intelligence.
That's right.
We're going to unpack some cutting-edge research and uncover the secrets of these, like, tiny geniuses.
Yeah, we tend to think of intelligence as something that's, linked to big brains.
Right.
But ants really challenge that assumption in some really fascinating ways.
Yeah.
We're going to be diving into a collection of scientific articles that explore, how ants navigate, how they communicate, even how they optimize their colonies.
Well,
And all with brains that are, like, way smaller than a pinhead.
so it's like they're proving that bigger isn't always better.
All right. Yeah.
What's the mission for our deep dive today? What are we hoping to uncover about these tiny masterminds?
I think our core question is really, what can we learn from ants about intelligence itself?
Okay.
We're going to see how what we used to think of as simple instinct
Like
is anything but. And even more exciting, we'll look at how these insights are impacting fields like robotics and AI.
Okay, you had me at robots.
Yeah.
Okay, so no more picturing ants just carrying crumbs.
Right.
We're talking next level problem solving here.
Some serious brain power.
Where do we even begin?
Let's start with this concept of emergent intelligence.
Okay.
Now, imagine a single ant.
Yeah.
It might operate on like a very basic set of rules.
Okay.
Find food, bring it back to the nest.
Right.
But when you have thousands of ants all interacting, following those like simple rules, something incredible happens.
They create a system that's more than just the sum of its parts.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's like a symphony.
Okay.
Each instrument on its own might not sound like much.
Right.
But together they can create something breathtaking.
Yeah.
And in the case of ants, this symphony is their colony.
Okay.
And the music is their collective intelligence.
I love that analogy.
And this plays out in their incredible ability to navigate, to communicate, even to build complex structures.
Right.
All without a conductor.
So there's no ant foreman with a blueprint.
Nope, no blueprints.
Okay, color me even more intrigued. Give me an example.
Yeah.
What's something these little geniuses do that just blows your mind?
Okay.
Yeah.
Take army ants, for example.
Okay.
Reed and his team, they made an incredible observation back in 2015.
Okay.
These ants can form living bridges to overcome obstacles.
Whoa.
We're not just talking about a straight line here.
Right.
These bridges dynamically adjust based on the terrain,
Oh, wow.
the amount of traffic crossing,
Really?
even the weight of what they're carrying.
Wait, so they're basically tiny civil engineers.
That's one way to put it.
How do they even know where to put themselves?
Well, that's the beauty of emergent intelligence.
Okay.
There's no single ant that's making decisions or giving orders.
Wow.
Instead, each ant is following simple rules based on local information,
Okay.
like sensing the presence of other ants
Got it.
or the gap that needs bridging. And somehow, out of these simple interactions, emerges this complex problem-solving behavior.
It's almost like each ant is a single cell in a larger organism.
Yeah.
And the colony itself is the thinking, adapting being. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. How does this tie back to us bigger brain folks? It's cool, but can we actually learn something from this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Think about things like distributed computing,
Okay.
where you have this massive problem.
Right.
It's broken down into smaller tasks handled by individual computers
Yeah.
that then come together to produce a solution.
Right.
Or even self-driving cars,
Okay.
where each vehicle is gathering data and communicating with others to navigate safely.
Right.
These are just glimpses of how we're taking inspiration from ant colonies
Yeah.
to develop more robust and efficient systems.
Okay, now that is seriously cool.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about ants. We're talking about the future of technology.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've covered their amazing bridge building.
Right.
But what about their ability to always find the shortest path to that picnic basket? You know what I'm saying?
right, wait.
Like, how do they navigate so well?
So, well, they have a whole toolkit for that.
Okay.
Pheromone trails, for one.
Okay.
Think of them like these tiny scent highways.
Okay.
When an ant finds a good food source,
Right.
it lays down this pheromone trail on its way back to the nest.
Okay.
Other ants then pick up on this scent and they follow it,
Yeah.
reinforcing the trail and making it easier for others to find their way.
Like a little six-legged Waze app?
Basically, yeah, like a little ant GPS.
That's so cool.
It's really incredible.
But it's more than just scent, right?
Yeah.
Don't they also use landmarks and even the sun to navigate?
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Really?
Ants are like surprisingly sophisticated navigators.
Wow.
They can remember visual landmarks,
Okay.
use the position of the sun as a compass,
Wow.
and even combine these different cues to find their way around.
Yep. Wow. Imagine yourself in an unfamiliar city,
Yeah,
trying to find your way back to your hotel without a map or GPS.
that sounds awful.
Now that's impressive navigation.
Now that you mention it, getting lost in a new city is definitely more relatable than being an ant, right? Okay, so they lay down these scent trails, but what happens if there's a change, like an obstacle? Do they just hit a dead end?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
Jackson and his colleagues observed something remarkable in 2009 while studying Pharaoh's ants.
Okay.
Turns out these clever creatures have developed a unique solution: U-turns.
Wait, ants making U-turns?
Ants making U-turns.
You tell me they have tiny ant traffic rules?
Not exactly traffic rules,
Okay.
but pretty close.
Okay.
They discovered that a small percentage of ants specialize in making these U-turns on the pheromone trails.
Wow.
These ants act as trail maintainers,
Trail maintainers.
ensuring the network remains robust and connected even when obstacles appear. So even within a colony, you have specialized roles.
Yeah.
Some are out there foraging, others
Yeah.
are building.
Right.
And then you have the trailblazers,
The trailblazer.
or should I say trail maintainers,
That's a great way to put it.
making sure everyone stays on track.
That's a great way to put it. It highlights the importance of diversity within a colony
Right.
for overall success.
Wow.
Each ant contributing in its own way
Yeah.
to the collective goal,
Right.
which for an ant colony is all about survival and efficiency.
Makes sense.
Right.
This reminds me of something I read about different ant species and their brain sizes.
Okay.
It said that the more socially complex the species, the larger their brains tend to be.
Mm-hmm.
Is that related to what we're talking about here?
You're thinking about the work of Pami and Treniello.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's a great segue into our next fascinating facet of ant intelligence.
Ooh.
But we'll save that for part 2 of our deep dive.
So, more complex ant societies mean bigger brains.
You're spot on to connect social complexity and brain size. It's like you're reading my notes. Pami and Treniello's research. It really throws a wrench into that whole bigger brain equals smarter idea.
Okay, I'm all ears because so far ants are proving that size isn't everything.
Right.
So what do they find?
They compared 2 ant species, weaver ants,
Okay.
known for building these really elaborate nests from leaves,
Wow.
and then a species with like a much simpler social structure.
Okay.
And it turns out weaver ants, they have bigger brains. Specifically larger mushroom bodies.
The mushroom bodies.
Yeah. Think of those as like the ant equivalent of our prefrontal cortex, handling things like learning memory decision-making.
So more friends,
Yeah.
bigger brains to keep track of all.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Sounds like my own social life.
Right.
But I'm guessing there's a twist. It can't be that simple, right?
You'd be right to guess there's more to the story.
Okay.
See, bigger brains, they require more energy. You'd think these weaver ants would have like sky-high metabolisms to power those impressive brains.
Yeah, like they're constantly on an energy drink IV drip
Uh-huh. Oh,
to
yeah.
keep up with all those social engagement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the surprising part.
Okay.
Weaver ants have actually evolved to be more energy efficient
Yeah.
in those brain areas.
Really?
It's like they've got this like, sports car,
Okay.
but they're choosing to drive it in fuel-efficient mode most of the time.
So they've invested in bigger brains for complex social lives,
Mm-hmm.
but they've also figured out how to make them economical to run.
Right.
Efficiency seems to be a big theme with ants.
It's all about balance.
Okay.
The benefits of greater intelligence,
Right.
they have to outweigh the costs.
Makes sense.
And this balance is like a recurring theme in nature, and it's
Yeah.
something that we humans are constantly grappling with as well.
That's a whole other deep dive.
Yeah, exactly.
So bigger brains, efficient use. It's giving like work smarter, not harder vibes.
There you go.
But hold on. We've been talking about all these amazing feats.
Yeah.
Bridges, navigation, energy efficiency.
Right.
And we still haven't touched on communication.
Right.
How do they share information without Slack or Zoom?
That's where pheromones come in again.
Okay.
But in even more intricate ways than we even discussed with trail marking,
Okay.
ants can convey a surprising amount of information
Okay.
through these chemical signals.
So not just food here,
Right?
but more like Found some delicious crumbs over by the oak tree about 20 ant steps away. Come check it out.
Huh. Yeah, more like that than you might think.
Really?
Reznikova's research in 2008
Okay.
showed that some species like redwood ants even practice something called distant homing.
Okay, distant homing sounds way too advanced for my ant vocabulary right now.
Uh-huh.
Break it down for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine you're part of like a team of ants and you're
Right.
scouting for food.
Right.
You find this promising spot,
Yeah.
but you don't want the whole colony swarming it.
Right.
Just your team members.
Right.
These ants have a way to share specific information
Okay.
about the location of that food source only with their like selected teammates,
Wow.
guiding them directly to it.
So it's like they have their own private communication channels even at the colony.
It's like a little private chat.
That's amazing.
And it's this level of communication complexity
Yeah.
that allows ants to coordinate their activities
Right.
with such incredible efficiency.
Right.
It's not just about finding food.
Right.
It's about optimizing resource allocation, task delegation, even defense strategies.
Wow.
It makes you wonder if our human communication could use a dose of ant-like precision sometimes.
Don't get me started on miscommunications.
Right.
But you're right, there's a whole level of organization here that's mind-blowing.
It's really incredible.
And it's got me thinking about our earlier chat about robots.
Yeah.
How are scientists actually applying these, like, ant-inspired strategies?
It's a rapidly developing field. One of the most well-known examples is ant colony optimization, or ACO.
Okay.
Remember those pheromone trails?
Yes.
Well, computer scientists have figured out a way to mimic that in algorithms.
So instead of sense, it's like digital breadcrumbs leading to a solution.
Exactly. Take like a complex problem.
Okay.
Like finding the most efficient route for a delivery truck.
Okay.
ACR algorithms create these virtual ants
Okay.
that explore different paths.
Okay.
Each virtual ant lays down this digital pheromone trail,
Okay.
the strength of which corresponds to the quality of the route.
And the more ants that travel a particular route, the stronger the signal becomes?
Exactly.
Just like in a real ant colony.
Just like a real ant colony.
So the algorithm basically zeroes in on the best solution over time.
Precisely.
That's incredible.
And here's the kicker. It's not just about delivery trucks.
Right.
ACO is being used to optimize everything.
Wow.
From telecommunications networks to financial models.
Wow.
Even zoning protected areas and conservation efforts. Like that study by Liu and his team in 2012.
We're talking about real-world applications inspired by these tiny ant brains.
Real-world applications.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling, but it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
They've had millions of years to evolve these efficient systems.
Exactly.
Ah.
And that's just one example.
Okay.
Researchers are also looking at how ant communication can inspire swarm robotics.
Okay.
Where groups of robots can work together to perform complex tasks.
Okay.
Imagine a team of robots collaborating
Okay.
to clean up a disaster area,
Right.
each one autonomously making decisions based on local information and communication with its neighbors.
It's like that scene in WALL-E, but instead of chaos, it's coordinated efficiency.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really incredible how this research is being applied.
This is seriously making me rethink my whole perspective on intelligence.
That's exactly what's so fascinating about ants.
Yeah.
They challenge our assumptions.
Yeah.
And they show us that intelligence isn't just about individual brain power.
Right.
It's about the power of collective action adaptation and finding like these really elegant solutions
Yeah.
to complex problems.
So we've seen how ants are like inspiring cutting-edge tech
Right.
and kind of making us question everything we thought we knew about intelligence.
It's really remarkable.
It's pretty clear they're brilliant collaborators,
Yeah.
but does that mean they're always perfect?
Hmm.
Do they ever make mistakes?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it gets to the heart of how we understand like any complex system,
Okay.
whether it's an ant colony or even like human society.
Yeah.
There's always room for the unexpected.
Okay, I'm sensing a story here.
Okay.
Give me an example
Yeah.
where these genius ants weren't so genius.
Okay. Well, let's
Yeah.
talk about Camponotus japonicus.
Okay.
It's a species that's commonly found in Korea.
Okay.
Lim and his team were studying them back in 2019,
Okay.
and they observed something rather peculiar.
What did they find?
Did these ants unionize and demand shorter work weeks?
Uh-huh. Very funny.
Not quite.
Okay.
They were observed carrying like perfectly good protein-rich food items
Okay.
to this like specific spot,
Right.
only for other ants to then pick them up and bring them right back to the nest.
Wait, they were just moving food back and forth.
Back and forth.
Talk about an ant-based workout routine.
Right.
Is this some kind of ant CrossFit?
It certainly seemed counterproductive.
Yeah.
The researchers were puzzled at first.
Yeah.
But they came up with a couple of theories.
Okay.
One possibility is that it's a form of, like, nutritional balancing.
Okay.
Maybe the colony had, like, an overabundance of that particular food source.
Right.
And they were, like, discarding the excess to
Right.
maintain, like, a specific dietary balance.
So like a picky eater who pushes their veggies to the side of the plate.
Yeah.
Too much protein, gonna even things out.
Exactly. Okay.
Or another theory is that the dump site,
Right?
it served as like a temporary storage area.
Okay.
Perhaps there was like limited space inside the nest.
Yeah. And they were temporarily stashing the food there
Right.
before it was needed.
Okay, so maybe not intentional inefficiency,
Right.
but definitely a reminder that even the most amazing systems have their quirks.
Exactly.
There's always more going on than meets the eye.
Precisely.
It's a good way to put it.
It underscores the importance of careful observation
Yeah.
and avoiding jumping to conclusions too quickly.
Right.
Even with ants, there's always more to learn, more layers to uncover.
Which I think has been like the biggest theme throughout this entire deep dive.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like we zoomed in on these tiny creatures
Yeah.
and uncovered a whole universe of complexity and wonder.
And let's not forget the inspiration they're providing.
Right.
From robotics and AI to, like, challenging our very definition of intelligence.
Right.
Ants are pushing us to think differently about problem solving,
Yeah.
cooperation,
Yeah.
and the incredible power of nature's designs.
So if our listeners could walk away from this with just one big takeaway about ant intelligence, what would it be?
I think it's this. Intelligence isn't confined to big brains or individual genius.
Yeah.
Ants have shown us the incredible potential of collective intelligence.
Yeah?
How even the smallest individuals working together with simple rules can create something truly remarkable.
It's a beautiful reminder that collaboration, adaptation, and a bit of ingenuity can go a long way.
That's right.
Well, thanks for joining us on this fascinating deep dive into the world of ant intelligence.
It was my pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions.
Yeah.
And remember, even the smallest creatures can teach us the biggest lessons.